male reproductive organ of the flower, that is called as the androecium. As we know, androecium is the male reproductive organ of the flower. Individual member of androecium, it is called as a stamen. So today we first start to study the structure of stamen. As we know, stamen, it is the individual member of the androecium. Androecium, it is the main reproductive organ of the flower. Stamen, it is the individual part of the individual member of the androecium. Stamen, it again consists of mainly three parts. The stalk of stamen, it is called as a filament. It is a thread-like structure. So it is called as a stalk of stamen. Then these two sac-like or bag-like structures are present, which are called as a anther. This bag-like structure in which actually pollen grains are present, it is called as an anther. So anther, it is also called as a fertile part of the stamen. As we see in the diagram, there are two anther lobes. These anther lobes, they are connected by a sterile tissue. That sterile tissue, it is called as a connective. As the name connective, as it connects both the anther lobes, so it is called as connective. Connective, it is a sterile connective tissue. As it does not produce anther or it does not take part in the process of reproduction, so it is called as a connective. There are actually two categories of anthers, as monothecous anther and diathecous anther. As the name refers, mono means single and theca means lobe. Here, in monothecous anther, only one lobe is present, while in a diathecous anther is bilobe. Monothecous anther, it was mainly present in members of order Malvaceae. All the members of Malvaceae mainly show monothecous anther in which only one lobe is present. The anther look like this, in which actually only one lobe is present. This is the filament of stamen. In this lobe, in each lobe actually two microsporangia or two pollen sacs are present. That means in monothecous anther, two single lobe is present. In each lobe there are two pollen sacs are present, and in these pollen sacs actually pollen grains are developing. While in a diathecous anther we see actually two lobes, and in each lobe as one pollen sac, here is second, here is third, here is fourth. Thus in a diathecous anther, four pollen sacs are developing. When we draw any diagram of stamen, generally we draw this type of diagram. Why? Because in maximum angiosperms, diathecous type of anther is present, or diathecous type of stamen is present. So let us study the next point, that is TS of anther. When we take transverse section of anther, let us draw the diagram and then draw the layers which are present in anther. Let us draw the diagram of TS of anther. First we draw and then this is the diagram of transverse section or TS of diathecous anther, in which actually we observe, we are seeing actually four pollen sacs. First we draw these pollen sacs and then we draw the different layers which are present in this anther wall. Tiers of anther, it mainly shows two parts. First we draw the chart. Tiers of anther, it mainly shows two parts as anther wall and pollen sac. Anther wall, it again consists of four layers as epidermis, then second is endothecium, the third layer is middle layer, and fourth layer is tapetum. Now we have to label these all labels in this diagram. This is the diagram of tiers of anther. The first layer, it is the epidermis. Epidermis, it is the outermost layer. As this diagram shows, epidermis, it is the outermost layer. It is a single layer. This layer is a single layer and it consists of flat cells. As it is outermost layer, it is protective in function. Then the second layer is endothecium. Endothecium cells, they are generally compactly arranged and they are radially arranged. They are also single layer. The layer which is present just below the epidermis, it is called as the endothecium. Endothecium, it lies just below the epidermis. It is also single layer. In endothecium, there is a thickening of callus-like substance. Epidermis cells, they have a callus-like substance of thickening, due to which this callus thickening, it gives hygroscopic nature to the endothecium. This hygroscopic nature of endothecium, it helps during the dehiscence of anther. Here we also draw this part is the connective, which is the sterile connective tissue which mainly connects both the anther lobes. Then third layer, it is the middle layer. Middle layer, it lies just below the endothecium. It is 1 to 3 layer. This is the middle layer. The third layer, it is the middle layer. It is 1 to 3 layer. It lies just below the endothecium. The cells of middle layer, they are parenchymatous in nature. And the innermost layer of anther, it is called as a tapetum. It is the innermost layer of tapetum, and the cells of tapetum, they are somewhat larger in size with dense cytoplasm, and the cells of tapetum, they are multinucleated. Means some cells, they are haploid in nature, while some cells, they are diploid in nature, while some cells, they are polyploid in nature. Thus, the fourth layer, it is called as a tapetum. Tapetum, it lies just below the middle layer, or it is also called as the innermost layer of anther wall. The cells of tapetum, they are somewhat larger in size. They are triangular in shape. They are thick wall with dense cytoplasm, and the nucleus of the tapetum, it may be haploid, diploid or polyploid in nature. These tapetum cells have a diagnostic feature in anther. Tapetum, the first function of tapetum is tapetum, it mainly provides nourishment to the developing pollen grains, or they are also called as the microspores. In these pollen sacs, there are 4 pollen sacs in a diathecous anther in which actually pollen grains are developed. These pollen grains, they are nourished by this tapetum. So the function of tapetum is to provide nourishment to the developing pollen grains. Then the second function of tapetum is the tapetum mainly secretes a chemical substance which is called as a sporopollenin. And this sporopollenin, it mainly present on outer wall of the pollen grain which is called as the exine, and main function of sporopollenin is it protects the pollen grain from biological and chemical decomposition. And the last part is the pollen sac. Here actually pollen tetrads are developed, or pollen tetrads are present. It is the pollen sac in which actually first archisporial cells are present, and after the process of microsporogenesis, these archisporial cells, they develop the pollen grains. After this point, we actually study how the process of micropropagation occurs. So we study the tears of diathecous anther. The tears of diathecous anther, it mainly shows 2 parts as anther wall and pollen sac. Anther wall consists of 4 layers as epidermis, endothelium, middle layer and tapetum. And pollen sac, epidermis, it is the outermost covering. It is single layer. The cells of epidermis, they are flat. As the name suggests, it is protective. As it is outermost, it is protective in function. The second layer, it is the endothelium. Endothelium, it lies just below the epidermis. The cells of endothelium, they are radially and compactly arranged, and on these endothelium, callus-like substance thickening is present, which gives hygroscopic nature to this endothelium. When the anther, it is dehisced, that means after maturation, when this anther wall, it is broken down or dehiscence, this dehiscence is due to the endothelium, that is due to the hygroscopic nature of the endothelium. Then third layer, it is the middle layer. Middle layer, it also lies just below the endothelium. Middle layer, it is again of 1 to 3 layer. The cells of middle layer, they are parenchymatous in nature. And the fourth layer is tapetum. Tapetum as the innermost layer of anther. The cells of tapetum, they are somewhat larger inside. They have thick wall. They have dense cytoplasm, and the cells of tapetum, they are haploid, diploid or polyploidy in nature. The role of tapetum is as it provides the nourishment for developing pollen grains. The second role is this tapetum mainly secretes a substance that is a sporopollenin, and sporopollenin is involved in the formation of exine of pollen grain. This sporopollenin, it mainly protects the pollen grain from biological and chemical decomposition. These are the actually it is the actually tears of anther. Now let us study the process of microsporogenesis. As the name refers, microspores. Genesis means formation of. Formation of microspores, it is called as a microsporogenesis. What are microspores? Microspores, they are also called as the pollen grains. Then what is microsporogenesis? Formation of microspores or pollen grains is called as a microsporogenesis. Let us understand how these microspores are developed. For this study, we use the diagram as we study the tears of anther. by using this diagram, we study how actually microspores or pollen grains are developed. This diagram, it is a diagram of tiers of anther. It mainly shows 4 layers as anther wall. Anther wall as it consists of outer epidermis, then second layer is the endothecium, then middle layer, and the innermost layer is called as the tapetum. Both the layers commonly called as the anther wall. And there are 4 sac-like, or there are 4 sac-like structures which are called as a pollen sac. But when they are immature, these 4 sacs, they are called as a microsporangium. There are actually 4 microsporangium in Diathecus anther. When anther is immature, these 4 structures we call as a microsporangium, and when actually there are pollen grains are developed, means when the anther become mature, we call these structures as a pollen sac. Previously, in this microsporangium, it mainly consists of mass of compactly arranged cells. When the anther is young, it consists of diploid, compactly arranged diploid tissues, which are called as these tissues, they are called as a sporogenous tissue, or they are also called as archisporial cells. When the anther is immature, these archisporial cells, they are compactly arranged. As anther becomes mature, these sporogenous tissue or these sporogenous cells, they get separated from each other. That means there is a formation of space between these cells. Why? Because the anther, it grows in the anther as it grows inside. There is these microspore mother cells or these archisporial cells. Now we then call as a microspore mother cells. As they get separated from each other, these microspore mother cells, they are diploid in nature. Now at this stage, these microspore mother cells, they undergoes one meiotic division to form 4 haploid microspores. But these microspores are now attached to each other. They are not separated. This is the first, second, third, and the back. It is the 4. Thus, microspore mother cell, it undergoes first meiotic division to form 4 haploid microspores. It is called as a microspore tetrad. Now, in this sac, we actually draw the microspore tetrads. Now, these microspore tetrads, they get separated from each other to form 4 haploid microspores, or we call them as a pollen grains. Thus, actually, the process of microsporogenesis takes place. The process of microsporogenesis, that is the formation of microspores or formation of pollen grains, it is called as a microsporogenesis. First, when the anther is immature, the mass of compactly arranged diploid tissues with sac, they are called as a microsporangium. When the anther is immature, the cells are very compactly arranged. As the anther gets mature, the cells, which are called as archisporial cells, or they are also called as sporogenous tissue, they get separated from each other. Now, each diploid cell, it is called as a microspore mother cell. This microspore mother cell, it undergoes one meiotic division to form 4 haploid microspores. As they are arranged in a tetrahedral manner, so they are called as a microspore tetrad. And as maturity begins, last the microspore tetrad gets separated to form 4 haploid pollen grains or microspore. It is the actually process of microsporogenesis. Now let us study the structure of pollen grain. Structure of pollen grain, or it is also called as a microspore. These pollen grains, they are unicellular, non-motile, haploid, spherical or oval structures developed in the fertile part of the stamen, that is called as the anther. As we know, this is the structure of stamen in which it is the fertile part which is called as the anther, and in this anther actually pollen grains or microspores are developed. So we define microspores as microspores or pollen grains. They are unicellular, non-motile, haploid, spherical or oval structures mainly developed in the fertile part of the stamen, that is called as the anther. Let us draw the diagram of pollen grain. This is the diagram of typical pollen grain. Pollen grain, it is a double layered structure. The outermost layer, it is called as the exine, while innermost layer, it is called as the intine. Both exine and intine commonly called as a sporoderm. Then what is sporoderm? Pollen grain is double layered structure in which both the layers commonly called as a sporoderm. Then exine, it is the outermost layer of the pollen grain. This layer, it may be spiny in those plants in which pollination takes place through the agency of wind. That is, in Anemophilous types of plants, this exine, it is a smooth. That means it is a entire. While in those plants in which pollination takes place through the agency of wind, through the agency of insect, that is in Entomophilous types of plants, this exine, it is a spiny in nature, due to this spiny nature, these pollen grains, they are easily stick to the body part of that insect. So exine, it is smooth one or it may be spiny in nature. This exine, it is composed of a chemical biodegradable substance, that is non-biodegradable. This exine, it consists of a non-biodegradable substance which is called as a sporopollen. And this sporopollen, it mainly protects this pollen grain from physical and chemical biodegradation. Then the inner layer, it is called as a intine. Intine mainly consists of cellulose and pectin. Then fifth point is exine. This exine, it forms or it is thin wall at some places, or exine is interrupted at some points, or it remains thin wall at some points to form a small pore-like structure. That pore-like structure, it is called as a germ pore. And during pollen germination, through this germ pore, actually pollen tube arises. Germ pore, exine is interrupted or it leaves a thin layer at some points to form a pore-like structure which is called as a germ pore. There may be one or two germ pores are present. That means they are also called as a uniporate or biporate. And at the center, haploid nucleus is present with thin cytoplasm. It is the actually structure of pollen grain. What are pollen grains? Pollen grain, they are unicellular, non-motile, haploid, oval or spherical structure developed in the fertile part of the stamen, that is called as anther. Pollen grain, they are double layered structure. These two layers commonly called as a sporoderm. The outer layer is called as a exine. It is smooth walled in anemophilous type of plants, while it is spiny in endomophilous types of plants. Exine is composed of a chemical non-biodegradable substance which is called as sporopollenin, and this sporopollenin protects pollen grain from biological and chemical decomposition. The inner layer it is called as a intine. Intine, it is an entire layer, and entire layer, and it is composed of cellulose and pectin. Then exine, it is interrupted at some points, or it is thin layer at some points to form a pore-like structure which is called as a germ pore. When the pollen grain it gets germinated through this pollen, through this germ pore, actually pollen tube is arises, and at the center or inside the pollen grain, cytoplasm and haploid nucleus is present. Haploid nucleus. It is the structure of pollen